Most respected Professor Kanagasabapathi ji and esteemed guests who are participating in this August function, former VC Gandhigram University Professor S. Natarajan ji, partner of Kannan Jubilee Coffee, Thiru Shankar Krishnanji, Director of ABCD Capital, Thiru Manivasanji, Chief Curator of Veranda Club, Thiru Rajeshji, and my co-workers and also intellectuals who are very much active in IECC. IECC is working for several years here in Tamil Nadu, especially in Coimbatore, under the great leadership of or mentorship of Professor Kanagasabapathi ji. So I do feel it as a great privilege and also most proud moment that our friends and co-workers are discussing about two books which happen to be penned by me. I can't say that it is a 100% original work which has been created by me. It was all because of our great thinkers, nationalist thinkers, I would like to put it in that way. Mananiya Parameswaran ji, Mananiya Hari ji, and also Mananiya Sheshadri ji. And of course, the Professor has already said that all our Sangha Adhikaris who have given us this view about this great nation, the very selfhood of our nation. What is it actually? Sotwa, Namada Ullu. What is it? How it can be defined? A specific word for our selfhood. That is Hindutva, nothing else. We cannot just define or explain the selfhood of this great nation, the nationality of this great nation, with any other word. There are two doshas, two shortcomings of any definition as far as our Tarka Shastra is concerned. It is said that Atyukti or Nyunokti. If we are saying something to define a particular person, a particular ideology, particular philosophy or anything, if we are saying something more, that is not a good definition. That is known as Atyukti. I don't want to go much deep into the semantics. But you know, if you are saying, defining our nation's culture as Indian culture, I haven't got anything against the word India or Bharat or anything. But now we are discussing the thing in an ideological manner or a philosophical manner. If you are discussing and saying that it is Indian culture. So, when we are considering the present situation, the present condition of our nation, especially the intellectual arena, if we are saying that some things are more in that India, which are not specifically Bharat, there are so many things. I don't want to discuss much. So that word has got that particular nyunata or shortcoming that is known as atyukti. If you are saying something which is, we are not able to define it fully, some shortcomings are there, some abhavas are there, that is known as nyunokti. We are saying only something only, not whole, not specific. So to know about Bharat's cultures fully, specifically, if you want to aim at the bullseye, you have to say Hindutva alone. See, those who are coming from outside to learn about Bharatiya culture, or you say Indian culture, what they are trying to learn, Bharatanatyam, they want to learn. They want to learn about Bhakti literature. They want to learn about the Sangam literature. They want to know about Tiruvalluvar. They want to know about the Shankaracharya. They want to know about Abhinavagupta. They want to know about Ayurveda. Did anyone who are coming from outside, they want to know about Veda, they want to know about Mahabharata. I would like to ask, anyone coming from America to learn about Bharatiya culture, will they select Bible? I want to know about Bible and learn Bible from Bharat. Is it so? They have got enough places to learn about Bible in Rome or Vatican or everywhere, anywhere. Anyone coming from any of the world nations or countries to learn about Quran? I don't think so. I don't think so. They all are trying to learn, study only those things, philosophically, ideologically, scripturally, anything. That's all related to the great culture that is Hindu culture. Hindu culture only. So if you want to explain, if you want to define the culture, the Sanskriti, Panpad, that is Hindutva alone. Then comes another point, another problem. Hindutva is wrong, but Hinduism is good. Someone are trying to create a binary in between Hinduism and Hindutva. Hindutva is of Veera Savarkar. Hinduism is Swami Vivekananda's. Hinduism of Swami Vivekananda, Hinduism of Rabindranath Tagore, Hinduism of Mahatma Gandhiji, okay, we are ready to accept. But Veera Savarkar's Hindutva, Guruji Golwalkar's Hindutva, we are not ready to accept. Mohan Bhagavat's Hindutva. What is the difference between Hindutva and Hinduism? I have tried a bit from my limited knowledge, on the basis of my limited language. I tried to differentiate these two words in this book. Actually, I have tried for it. Again, I am saying, எனக்கு ஒரு எதிர்ப்பும் இல்லை ஹிந்துயிசத்தோடும் ஹிந்துத்துவத்தோடும் எதிர்ப்பே இல்லை. But why I tried? Someone are creating such sort of animosity in between Hindutva and Hinduism. Then we have to define it very well. If you are adding something, ism, to particular term, what is the meaning of ism? You are saying that Hinduism is great, important, sacred, and all those things. What is the actual meaning of ism? In a sentence, you can say it is a closed book of thought. ചിന്തനയുടെ അടച്ചു മൂടപ്പെട്ട ഒരു ഗ്രന്ഥം, അതിന് അല്ലെ ഒരു വിചാരം. You can't add anything to ism. You can't take away anything from ism. See, all this hijab problem and everything you are saying, and also a right to marry more than one or two or three or women, that all are being in their ism, in their book. You can't just remove a single full stop or comma from their book. You can't delete it. You can't add anything. That is known as ism. As far as communism is concerned, still in the democratic political democracy, communist people are saying that, oh, no, we are not talking about the class war and everything. But textually, ideologically, they are still following those principles which have been underlined by Karl Marx. It is all about war between haves and have-nots. It is all about killing or annihilating the haves, the ruling of the have-nots. So these principles are there. No one can take a single comma from that principle. No one can add a single phrase to that. That is known as ism. The very word ism of English, ism, came from Greek word isom. What is the meaning? It's a part. Siding with the part. So, and thinking that it is full. That is a strange philosophy known as ism. So when ism is being added to a particular word, it becomes a compartmentalized thought. You can't add anything to that. In that way, can Hindu become a Hinduism? he was writing the Tippani or the commentary to Gita in its Bodhata, he said, Shito Agni Aprakasho va iti Bhuvan Shruti Satamapi na Pramanyamupati. See the courage of the great man. Shankaracharya was saying, not 4 Vedas. If 100 Vedas coming before me and saying that, see, Agni hasn't got any light. And Agni is not hot. Sheeta hai. அப்படி சொல்லியிருந்த போலும் ந பிராமாண்யம் உபேதி, it is not pramana for me. 100 Vedas बताया है तो भी I will not consider as a source material or an authentic thing. I will say no, Veda is wrong. And our Veda will not say that. That's a different matter. But the courage of the great Shankaracharya, he is our forefather, he is our guru, he is our acharya. No pramanyam upaiti, it is not pramana for me. Such a philosophy, such a culture, such a tradition, such a civilization, can it be ism? So I thought that in the first point itself, Hindu is a Bharatiya word, and you are adding a Western word to it, ism, and saying that it is great. The very meaning of that word itself is confining ourselves to the 4 words of a thought out thing which cannot be added, cannot be deleted, cannot be removed. But Hindutva, what does it mean? If you want an English translation for Hindutva, it is known as Hindu-ness. It cannot be Hinduism. It is Hindu-ness. One which make a person a Hindu. That is Hindutva. It is being discussed in separate articles. I cannot say that all the articles are published articles. Some articles are made with this context in mind, especially dataism, cultural, multiculturalism, and so many such things. Technological advancement and Hindutva. What Hindutva is discussing or giving answers to the environmental problem. Such as some modern issues are also being discussed in that book. So I am so happy that our Coimbatore friends are also discussing about that book. Unfortunately, the book has not reached here in time, but I think within 1 or 2 days it will reach. So already our respected Kanagasabapathi ji has explained it very well. Though for a short period of time he explained it. So the second book, which already it has been mentioned, and today's discussion point, that is Swaraj at 75. From the very title itself, you are saying, you are getting a view about the approach of this subject. See, some days back, there was a cultural exchange program conducted by our Vinay Sahasrabuddhiji's organization. No, not Rambhav. There's a government's organization, that is ICC. ICC. Council for Cultural Relations. There were so many youngsters from all over the world were invited to live in Bharat for 1 or 1.5 months, traveling everywhere as a part of this 75th year of Indian independence. And at last they were all called together in Delhi, and there was a discussion with our chairman Vinay Sahasrabuddhiji. All the participants were talking, and one Jamaican girl, when she was asked, what do you think about this whole exercise and festival, the celebration which we are all going to celebrate in connection with the 75th year of independence? That girl, the intelligent girl, she, after seeing all those things, visiting so many libraries, visiting so many dignitaries, and last she was saying that this is the time for you people of India to tell your stories to whole world. Tell your actual stories to the world. See, I think it was a fantastic observation. It's a marvelous observation as far as a young girl is concerned. she found out what is the deficiency of this great land. Already Professor has said that many of our great thinkers are also not knowing the real story of this great nation. Real story. I used to quote one particular thinker, Ben Okri. He's a Nigerian novelist. He got the Booker Prize also some years back. And a strange thing, he was invited by our Jaipur dialogue team. Jaipur Lit First team. You know that Jaipur Lit First team is the so-called liberal secular gang. They thought that this black personality got Booker Prize, then he must be from our biradari, our brotherhood. So he was invited to Jaipur. Their discussions were going on, and this gentleman said, the first sentence itself, he has exploded their whole concept. He said that you have inspired me to write novels and stories. Your Mahabharata, your Ramayana, your Panchatantra was the main inspiration point for me. That's not the main point which I want to discuss before you. Okay. Anyway, Benokri, after his program in Jaipur Lit First, okay, just like some old persons are being taken to vote to the polling station. Once the voting is over, the poor old man or old woman will be akela. She or he will be alone there. No one will be there to take back those poor people to home. Benokri ka sthiti bhi wahi tha. He was being taken there. Once he said this, he opened up his mind, then this no one was there to take him back. Of course, the ticket has been booked, so he came to Delhi. So in Delhi, he addressed the press people. Sorry, I have got a bit cough. Sorry. So he addressed press people, and in that meeting, one pressman has asked about Nigeria and South African history and Bharat's history. What can you see some parallels in this colonial aggression, everything? So he made a wonderful poetic quotation about history or story. He said that story means history. What was his saying, his quotation? I'm quoting. To poison a nation, poison its stories. If you want to poison a nation, you have to poison its stories. A demoralized nation tells demoralized stories to itself. That's a very dangerous situation. See, once the stories are being poisoned, the nation and its people will become demoralized. Demoralized nation will speak the demoralized stories to itself. A self-hypnotization will start. Beware of the storytellers who are not fully conscious of the importance of their gifts and who are irresponsible in the application of their art. They could unwittingly help along the psychic destruction of their people. Unquote. See, demoralized people and nation will speak to themselves their demoralized stories, as our people are talking that, okay, we are not actual Indians, we came from somewhere from Caspian Sea some 2000 years before as Aryans. The original people were being thrown to the south. Some of our black south people are thinking that we are the original inhabitants of the nation. Somewhat white, though Rajesh ji is from south, but he is not actually black. So he is not Dravida, he is Arya. All these stupid stories we are talking to ourselves now through the history books, is it not? So Benokri's observation is actually correct. And he is saying that through this, the most dangerous part, actually, if you are not going to heal this problem, this disease, we are entering into that most dangerous suicidal moment, that is the psychic destruction of our people. Psychic destruction of these people. So in this context, you have to go through that Jamaican girl's comment that this is an opportune moment, opportunity for you all to tell loudly about your real stories to the whole world. What happened to our history? What we are teaching about? We are not able to understand the whole history of the Bharat properly, especially the Indian independence struggle even. who all have participated in Indian independence struggle? Generally through the history books which I and yourself, you people have undergone, we studied. If you are analyzing properly, it seems to be a family alone has participated in the whole independence struggle. A family. And our Indian independence struggle history is the kitchen story of that Kashmiri Pandit family. That Kashmiri Pandit. No one else has participated in it. There is no Bhagat Singh, there is no Khudiram Bose, there is no Prafulla Chakki, there is no VOC, there is no Padasi Raja, there is no Velu Nachiyar. There are no Abbaka Ranis, there are no Kittur Rani Chandamas, only a family. That is the way in which our Indian independence struggle history has been created. There are attempts to create the true history of the Bharat's independence struggle. You know, the great personality R.C. Majumdar has been given the responsibility to write the history of Indian independence struggle. When we attained freedom in 1947, August 14th and 15th midnight, and immediately, maybe because of the insistence of great Mahatma Gandhiji, Rajendra Prasad and Sardar Patel, all are alive at that point of time, and all are very active in the politics, and they have got a say in the government, somewhat I am saying, say. So they have insisted that if you want to write an Indian independence struggle history, no one other than R.C. Majumdar has got the capacity to do so. So, without any proper consent, Jawaharlal Nehruji and Abul Kalam Azad, who was the education minister and cultural minister at that point of time, that is a strange phenomenon for our, Bharat's history also. Our education ministers, for the preliminary decades, several decades, the main qualification for their qualification, just like James Mills, when he wrote the British India history, James Mill, he wrote in the preface itself, James Mill said that, I am writing an objective history, okay? I am writing a critical history of Bharat. That's also good. Historians must write critical history, but it shall not be a critics against Hindus only. That's the only point. I am writing an objective history and I have got the qualification to write that history. What is the qualification? I never went to Bharat. I haven't yet visited Bharat. That's first qualification, because if I am there, it has been written in the preface by the great gentleman. And another one, second thing, I don't know any of the Bharatiya languages. Not even a single Bharatiya language. Whenever this point comes, I used to remember that in the preliminary decades, the second, third decades of independent India's history, you please analyze, almost all education ministers has got 50% of the qualification which James Mill holds. What is that? Okay, they not visited, they took birth in Bharat, all those Abul Kalam Azad to all those Nurul Hasan and all. But all of them were unaware about the basic linguistic knowledge about Bharatiya language. No one. So they are of the same quality in that way. So R.C. Majumdar said that at that he has been given that responsibility and he started writing. But once he has completed the preliminary work and the draft of the first volume was prepared, he was called by the PMO. PMO and the education minister, both of them were, you may be knowing, when I am saying about Abul Kalam Azad like this, many of the people who are sitting here, I think that their eyebrows are a bit curled at that time. Why? Abul Kalam Azad is a great personality and he was a secular Muslim. Thus, if you go deep into the history, the Khilafat problem, the Mopla riot, the Hindu pogrom or genocide which happened in Kerala and all, Malabar and all, if you are going deep into the Khilafat history, this person was the first person. He was a member of this Khilafat movement and he was the person ready for the jihad, be prepared for the final war. These are the two phrases which he has given to the Khilafat volunteers. He was with the Muslim League before Khilafat. Later on, he came to know that Muslim League is not proper to do the communal things. He joined with the Khilafat, and later on he thought that to further his communal aspiration, Congress would be better. So he joined the Congress. That is it. There are so many such vigrahas in our Indian history. Okay. R.C. Majumdar was called by these two great leaders of Bharat, and while they go through this draft, he came to know that this R.C. Majumdar is writing about the comprehensive history of Bharat's independence. Second, they are giving undue importance to the so-called Ugravadis, so-called revolutionaries. They are giving equal, at least, the importance to all satrapas of the great, all other states of this nation. They are starting from Kerala. He is discussing about Tamil Nadu. What is the purpose of discussing all these things? That's why I am not simplifying the action taken by the first Prime Minister, but that is the actual reason. And R.C. Majumdar committee has been dismissed, and in his place, who was brought? I would like to know, any of you are knowing about who headed that history writing committee after that? One Tara Chand, who was the ambassador in Tehran, Iran's Tehran, for 5 or 6 years, and he has got two qualities. One, he is having that socialist communist ideological background and have got that immense rich experience with Muslim fundamentalists. So Islamo-leftist historians, if you are going deep into that, maybe Tara Chand is the first person in the independent India's history who was a Islamo-leftist historian. He has been given the responsibility. That is why what James Mill has written, what all other British historians wrote, that history is being repeated or duplicated. Just color was changed. The design of the book has been changed. Full stop has been transformed into semicolon, semicolon to colon. That's all. Everything is just ditto what James Mill and all other historians have said. Maybe because of that, some 120 years ago, Swami Vivekananda has foreseen this type of activities. He has foreseen it. And he made a statement I would like to quote. I am quoting. The histories of our country written by English and other Western writers cannot but be weakening of our minds. Cannot but weakening of our minds. For they talk only of our downfall. How can foreigners who understand very little of our manners and customs or religion and philosophy write faithful and unbiased histories of India? Many false notions and wrong references have found their way to them. And as a conclusion, Swamiji was saying that it is for us to strike out an independent path of historical research for ourselves, to study the Vedas and Puranas and the ancient annals of India, and from these make it our life sadhana to write accurate, sympathetic and soul-inspiring histories, true histories of this land. So Swami Vivekananda, some 120-25 years back, he made it very specific that this Westerners made history will not do any good for us other than downfall of our confidence and everything. It will ruin you. So you have to write your own history, the real Indians must write. So again, I am connecting it to our Jamaican girl's statement that you have to talk loudly during this time. It is the time you have to talk your real stories to the whole world. So the main purpose of these type of celebrations, see, Indians, especially Hindus, and especially those people who are connected to Sangha, are very much experts in conducting and organizing events. We are event managers. We will conduct big functions and everything. I am very happy that it is small function. So in connection with the Indian independence 75 years, we have to create the true narrative of our history. See, actually it is a war of narratives. Bharat's history in general and specifically Indian independence struggle history is to be discussed properly. There are some false narratives which have been created by the people. Those people who wrote the false histories, Swami Vivekananda said. So we have to correct it. That is our main purpose. I would like to say on this golden occasion of 75th year of Indian independence celebration, we all must come together and discuss and taught the people about the true history of Bharat. First, our independence struggle was a landmark movement in every sense of the word. If you are analyzing the whole world's colonization movement, there was not a single example you can say just as same as Bharat. We can be equalized with Bharat. Bharat's independence struggle was a landmark. Why I am saying so? It was a very long movement. That is the main first feature of our Indian independence struggle. First feature. But the other team is saying that Bharat's independence struggle was not that long. It was, at the most, it was started in 1885. What was the significance of 1885? At that point of time, one Englishman started a political party for Bharat. English people are giving so many things to us. They are very benevolent leaders and rulers. So they gave us a political party also. And this type of people who are supporting this argument, which Indian independence struggle was not a long one, it became a national movement only after Indian National Congress was founded. So they are saying that it has started in 1885. Is it correct? If you are saying 1885 was the first, or right from 1885 only Indian independence struggle has started, then where will you put the Sannyasi rebellion? Where will you put? Sannyasi rebellion was an independence struggle. It happened much before 1885. Kuka Andolan, Kuka revolution, which happened in Punjab. Oh, so then some people will change. Okay, 1885. If it is not 1885, then go some 20 or 25 years back. 1857 was the first Indian independence struggle. Is that also factually correct? Is it so? Yes, 1857 has got so many first positions. Nationally, at a particular point of time, under the leadership of a group, we have done a marvelous independence struggle. In that way, it was first. But as far as the struggle is concerned, where will you put then Veerapandya Kattabomman? Where will you put Velu Nachyar? Where will you position Marutu brothers? See, Marutu brothers, when they have started their struggle in Shivaganga, they circulated a manifesto, a proclamation in the name, Jambu Deepa Prakatani. Jambu Deepa Prakatani. How come these people, this so-called, I am not saying so, that people are saying that Dravida Makkal, these two brothers thinking about Jambu Deepa Bharata Ghande. How come it has happened? Where will you put Veera Padashiraja? In each and every writing he made, Sri Rama Jayam. In the top position, he used to write Sri Rama Jayam. Where was Sri Rama? Sri Rama is in Ayodhya. Sri Rama was in Ayodhya. But Padashiraja of Wayanad, when he was fighting, he used to write Sri Rama Jayam. Velithambi Dalava was fighting against Britain in 1805, 1803, 1804. He was fighting. During this Marutu brothers fight, he made a proclamation, and in that proclamation, Kundra proclamation, Velithambi Dalava wrote about how these British people are exploiting us. Right from Uppu to Karpura, they are exploiting. They are drawing, they are squeezing out our might, our blood. They are sucking our blood. Blood is a curse. This has been written by Velithambi Dalava. We are all thinking about the grand old man Dadabhai Nauroji about the wealth drain theory. But actually, Veluthambi Dalava of Travancore, he wrote about the wealth drive. Not only that, in the end, he said, Veluthambi Dalava said that these stupid adharmi people, adharmis, if they are allowed to rule our nation again and again, they will put cross on your temples. What is the connection of temple and Indian independence struggle? If you are analyzing, you are studying our Indian independence struggle movements, leaders, statements, proclamation, everywhere you find this Hindutva element. Everywhere you find this Hindutva element. That is known as selfhood. So, 1857 was not the first war of Indian independence. If you are thinking about this Westerners' invasion of our land, the first Westerner as a colonizer came to Bharat was Vasco da Gama of Portugal. He came to Malabar, Samurin's Malabar. In Calicut beach, Kapad is a place there near to Calicut. In that beach, in 1498, Vasco da Gama came. Do you know? There is a principle for our Bharatiyas, especially Hindus, that Atiti Devo Bhava. Whoever may coming, they will be treated as Devatas. They will be given any sort of support to start their own religious centers, their own trade centers. If money is needed, that money is also being given by the Rajas, because Devata. Just like we are giving offering towards the temple devatas, we used to consider this. These are not lip service. It is from the heart. So Samurin gave all sort of conveniences to this Vasco da Gama and his team. But within a short span of time, Samurin, you know, Samurin is a position. It's a dynasty. Samurin in English, it is in Malayalam, it is Samudri. And in Sanskritam, it is Samudragiri. Samudragiri means Samudra, sea or ocean, to Parvatas. That was his Rajya's, his state's boundary. So that is known as Samurin. When Samurin came to know about the real intention of these Adharmis, Portuguese people, Vasco da Gama, at that particular moment, Samurin started reacting. Our responses started. If you are counting that response and independence struggle, the spark of Indian independence struggle, it was started in the end of the 15th century or in the beginning of the 16th century itself. We fought for the Chalot Fort. Manavikrama Raja of Samurin, they all fought against this Portugal. Continuous fighting started. So these colonial forces, colonizers, started their invasion. And once we came to know about their real intention, I am coming to the real intention later on. Real intention, we started responding to that. So we have to consider our independence struggle has started once these colonizers set foot on our Bharat. It was not started in 1757 when Plassey War happened. Plassey Yuddha. We are all studying in the history that Plassey Yuddha was the first war against the foreigners. Is it true? Was this war a war? I visited Bengal many a times during this campaign. This Swaraj 75 campaign means preparing our workers to create contents, conducting programs in this discussion, seminars and all. For that preparatory work, I have visited Bengal also 2-3 times. And I visited Plassey. I have discussed with so many professors, history professors there. Many of them are wondering, do you consider it as a war? We are all thinking that it was bigger than or dangerous than Second World War. We are all discussing in that manner. Do you know how much time it went on? Only 11 hours. 11 hours. And in the preliminary time itself, in the first hour itself, Siraju Dawla, who has been, presented or exhibited as the icon of Indian independence struggle. Last year, I visited a Delhi exhibition. I was wondered, it was conducted by an Islamo-leftist group. The very first picture which has been put there was of Siraju Dawla. and Plassey War. But this coward, fanatic coward, a psycho. Sirajuddaula was a psycho. And he ran away from Plassey war field in the first hour itself. Why he ran away? He was scared. Where he went? To his fort. Why he went there? To collect his golds, jewels and all sort of wealthy things and take his most dearest, somewhat a Shakespearean English, most unkindest cut of all. In the same way I am using that most dearest concubine with him, and he tried to run away. But he was caught. That is the thing. And we are discussing it as the first war against Britain. Actually, it was not. Before that also, all these colonizers were, to defend our culture, our civilization, we fought, our Rajas fought, our people fought. Another example, it has got some connection with the Tamil Nadu also. Because actually that portion where a great war happened was in today's Tamil Nadu. In the former period, it was Venad or Travancore dynasty. That was the turn of Dutch East India Company. After Portugal, Dutch turn came. Dutch attacked the south. Dutch was the mightiest naval force at that point of time. You are all knowing about that. In the beginning of the 18th century, Dutch was the greatest naval force. Naturally, quite obviously, the naval force used to rule the world. That was the thing. So, Dutch has defeated England twice before attacking Travancore. The Anglo-Dutch Wars. Altogether, 4 wars took place. In the first 2 wars, Dutch convincingly defeated England. So they were the mightiest force. They knew about the strategic position of our peninsula, our southern end, tip. And also, Korachal was a particular area where in which they knew that they can attack one of the strongest dynasties of Kerala. That is Travancore. So they threatened Martandavarma, Veera Martandavarma, who was the ruler at that time in Travancore. Threatened Martandavarma, and Martandavarma gave them an apt, befitting reply that if you are going to attack me, see, I am thinking about attacking Netherlands. I will come after you and attack your land. We are not of that people, but if you are very adamant about coming into my land, I will not only defeating you, I will come after you to your Netherlands. That was Martandavarma's reply. See, the geographical knowledge of that Raja also, you have to consider it as such. In 1741, August, Dutch people attacked Travancore in Kalachar. Travancore was not a naval force, but they have got a Raja who was an epitome of courage, intelligence, strategy, everything. He defeated Dutch force completely, and not only that, took many of the Dutch commanders as POW. But after making them prisoners, he behaved to them like human beings only. See, how to behave to POWs, the modern world are thinking, and our own young generations are thinking it is an outcome of a thinking of the nations coming together after the Second World War. How to behave prisoners of ours. But in 1741, Veera Martandavarma of Travancore took all the prisoners. Of course, many of them were wounded, many of them were very weak. They were being given all facilities, food, medicine, and Martandavarma himself attended their needs every day. Once they came out of their disease and wounds were healed, Martandavarma summoned them all to the Sabha. And he said that, okay, you have attacked us, we defeated you. It's all a part of history. Okay. Now you all can go back to your land, your nation. The ships are ready, sufficient foods are ready, you can go back, your ships are ready. That is the way in which a Hindu ruler reacts to the enemies even. It is not a case of Mahabharata war or anything. This dharma principle was there in our Hindu Rajas. This part also is to be discussed. But their leader, their commander, Dinaloy, with folded hands and tears in his eyes, he said that, sir, my Raja is not like you. If I am going back there, he will take off my head from my neck. So I don't want to go back. But not only that, I found that you are a benevolent king. You are giving much importance to the dharma. So I want to serve you. Can you just believe? This Dinaloy and his deputy Donodi and other prisoners, they were all ready to serve Travancore, our Hindu dynasty, and Dinaloy later on became the Valiya Kapitan of Travancore army. Valiya Kapitan. So this 1741 victory which happened in your state means Tamil Nadu. How many of us are aware about this grand victory? The first convincing victory against a European force by any Asian country. Any Asian country. If an MA history student is asked this question, which Asian country defeated a European force completely in the modern age? Suddenly they will answer that Japan defeated Russia. They will answer, in 1905 it happened. You may be knowing. But that is not the true history. In 1741, Martanda Varma was the first person who defeated a foreign country. Not only that, Sardar K.M. Panikkar in his history book, he is saying, but for Kolachal war, the whole Indian history would have been something different. See, Travancore, if it was defeated at that time, they will come to Tamil Nadu, they will come to Andhra, Hyderabad, then they will proceed towards the north. Already there are some colonies they have made in some areas of the north. So they want to defeat Bharat as a whole. That's why Sardar Panikkar said that, but for Kolachal war, and but for Martanda Varma's courage, but for Travancore army's courage, the whole history of India would have been something different. Another historian has said it convincingly in this manner that it was the beginning of the end of Dutch Empire. You also know in the 18th century, after the middle, Dutch Empire and Dutch dynasty has been devastated after that. That was the beginning. So all this history, there are so many things. Velunachar's fight against Britain, how Maruthu brothers fought against them, Padashi Raja, how they fought, how Vaikam Padmanabha Pillai fought against Tipu Sultan, how he gave a befitting reply to Tipu Sultan and cut his leg, and Tipu became lame. He ran back to his area after defeating before Vaikam Padma. All this part of the history has not been discussed well among our students, our generations. That's why we are saying it is an apt time for us to discuss, explain our true stories to the whole world. Can we take it as a challenge during this period? Can we discuss about the forgotten heroes and heroines? Can we discuss about the sidelined history of the great events of our Indian independence struggle movement? So that is the necessity of this celebration. I do think so. So such contents are to be created. Discussion on that contents are to be organized properly. Books are to be made. Lot of discussions, competitions among students are to be planned. Another false narrative. My time is over, I think, but I will finish it by giving only some bullet points only. Another narrative which has been created is Indian independence struggle was not a pan-Indian movement. It was a predominantly North Indian affair. That is Indian independence struggle history. If you are going through, you will find that it was all happened in the Ganga plain and all. The place where it is north of Vindhya and west of Brahmaputra river. It happened in the so-called Aryavarta. Is it correct? It's not correct. It happened in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Andhra, all areas, Gujarat, Kashmir, Assam. Everywhere our forefathers fought against this colonial adventure. Third, Another thing which they have tried to propagate is, this part is also to be properly countered, that it was a predominantly high-class, English-educated, urban-based male affair. See, with an arrow, how many birds are being shot down? They are saying that predominantly North Indian affair, urban-based, English-educated, so-called higher class, and at last male. They have done this. Is it correct, sir? Is it correct? Bharat's longest struggles against these colonial masters, colonial attackers, were led by so-called backward community people. In the beginning also, Sarah said about the Morichapi pogrom. Dalit Hindus, Nama Sudras, Bengali Nama Sudras were killed. He has explained about the campaign which has been done by our people. So in that way, if you are going correctly to the Indian independence struggle history, we are seeing peasant struggles. Who are peasants? Peasants were backward community people. Tribal wars. In Kerala, the longest struggle done against Britain, actually it was not by Palashiraja. It was by the Kuruchias, the tribals of Wayanad. They fought against Britain for almost 10 years. They continuously, long fight. Santal fight of Bihar, Jharkhand area. They all fought. Bhil fight, fought against them. So backward community people, these are the forgotten history and events of our nation. Many of the leaders of the so-called tribal group, they were all, they were not knowing English. I am not quite sure whether Mardu brothers are very expert English linguists. No, but they all fought against Britain. So that narrative is also a false narrative to create binary in between Bharatiya. Look, and another thing, what was the inspiration of this great fight? That's the main point actually. We need 2 days to discuss about that. What is the real inspiration? Many are saying it was petty politics. Why Jhansi Rani fought against Britain? She lost Jhansi. She wanted to regain Jhansi from Britain. For that purpose she fought. Okay, then why Tandia Tope fought? After Jhansi Rani went, after Rao Sahib was caught, Nana Sahib was killed, was deported, Tandia Tope continued his war, even though his Rani was not there, his commander was not there. For which state of his? For which state? Tandia Tope continued it. It was for selfhood of this great land. When it was attacked, they fought. Velutambi, people are saying that to regain, to take away Travancore from Raja. Velutambi was conspiring and he failed in that. So he fought against Raja also, Travancore Raja also, for political purpose. Is it true? Greatest injustice towards a great patriot of our land. Velutambi Dalawar relinquished all his powers before starting the final assault against Britain. He resigned his prime ministership. He gave back his sword, Padavalu. He gave back to Attingal Raja. And then he went to Kundara in Kollam and started his fight. And he, in his Kundra proclamation also, he was saying, see, this is for our dharma I am fighting. I am fighting. For our temples I am fighting. For the self-esteem of my sisters and mothers I am fighting. Not to regain, take away Travancore Raja from Raja and to become the Raja of Travancore. So selfhood was the main point. When Jhansi Rani was writing back to Colonel Johnson, and she was writing that I am fighting not for my petty kingdom. I am fighting to prove that I am a true follower of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna, agar युद्ध में मर गया है तो वीर स्वर्ग, जीता है तो हमारे जो संस्कृति को पालन करेंगे. That is for that purpose I am fighting. So when Maharishi Aurobindo, I would like to conclude by saying something about Maharishi Aurobindo also. Aurobindo was the greatest philosopher of our history, our Indian independence struggle. Aurobindo, in his great speech, a famous speech named The Awakening Soul of India. The Awakening, it is published also, it is in public domain, you can go through it. He said it succinctly. I'm quoting. The task we set before ourselves is not mechanical, but moral and spiritual. The task means Indian independence struggle, which we have taken to our hands, set before ourselves, is not mechanical or political, but moral and spiritual. How can it be? But he was saying again, we aim not at the alteration of a form of government. So it was not a political purpose. It is to recreate this great nation, he was saying. And later on he was saying, it is for our eternal dharma we are fighting. Politics is a part. Again he is saying, only a part. This is a moral fight. This is a spiritual fight. We have to inculcate, we have to imbibe the great eternal dharmic principles to education, industry, agriculture, planning, of course politics also. Everywhere it is to be re-established. What is this eternal dharma? Maharishi Aurobindo never minced these words. He was not making any political statement. He was not taking this particular aspect as a weapon for fighting next election. He never fought election. So political correctness was not necessary. So he was saying, Sanatana Dharma, the eternal religious principles of this great land is to be revived. It is to be imbibed, instilled into each and every corner of our life. So our war was for the selfhood. That's why I said this Bharat's battle for selfhood. In this way also it is to be put before our general public. For that purpose we have to make lot of programs. Another a small point also, another narratives also there. It is gaining momentum nowadays with so many people. They are saying that, see, we have got so many beneficial consequences also because of Britain. Beneficial consequences. They were benevolent leaders actually. They were rule-abiding rulers, law-abiding rulers. See, Queen's proclamation, it was a Magna Carta of Britain, in a way. Queen's proclamation just after 1857, in 1858, Queen made a proclamation and in which she made so many offers for us, saying that we are going to consider you as in par with our British citizens. You will get all rights as Britain citizens are enjoying. Your culture, your religion, or your customary practices will not be touched. Your agricultural habits and everything will be kept in, in a position, in a good position. We will not attack them, we will not destroy it. You may be knowing about the Queen's proclamation. Was it correct? But now so many of the people, only one example I would like to give. Some 8 or 9 years back, then Prime Minister of Bharat, he is considered to be the most educated, illustrious economist, what not. He seldom speak inside Bharat. He used to speak much outside Bharat. He has been conferred IAS type, a doctorate from Oxford University. He went there. Oxford University is giving, so it is a matter to be very much a proud moment for him. He went there, accepted that doctorate, speeches were heard, and he gave a reply speech. I would like to quote, who was that gentleman, you know. He was speaking about good governance of Britain. Good governance. While speaking at Oxford after receiving an honorary degree of doctorate of civil law, I got some of the sentence. Time we have got a little time. Today, with the balance of perspective offered by the passage of time and the benefit of hindsight, okay, it is possible for an Indian Prime Minister to assert that India's experience with Britain had its beneficial consequences too. I have taken that beneficial consequences word from that gentleman's speech. What all have been given by, what are the benefits given by the Britain? He was saying, our notions of the rule of law. Rule of law, it has been given by Britain, not by Bhishmacharya, not by Sri Krishna, not by Chanakya, not by the great leaders of our ancestors or anyone. He never went through Mahabharata. He never. And again you are saying, of a constitutional government, na rajyam na rajasit na dandyo na cha dandika dharmanyeva prajasarvam rakshanthisma parasparam. The great thoughts which has been very well explained in our great scriptures about Rajya, the ultimate state, not about your stupid constitutional government. The government which is never a government at all. Such a concept was there. There is not much time to discuss about that. He is saying it was a day of Victoria or the Britain. And of a free press, stupid, free press. See, in Mahabharata, Narada visited Yudhishthira, Dharmarajya, and his question was, do you allow your citizens to know about the happenings of the 14 lokas of this our universe? Are you giving them the opportunity to know everything about you, not only your Rajya, all the Rajyas? That has been asked by Narada. I am saying that's why Prachar Vibhag is considering Narada as the greatest communicator and the greatest journalist. So free press. Actually, who destroyed the freedom of press? Jawaharlal Nehru was the person who made the first amendment to our constitution, first amendment that was against the freedom of the press. Freedom of all these things. So, of a professional civil service of universities, see, there were no Nalandas, no Takshashilas, no Vikramashilas. And you're saying it was all given by Oxford and Cambridge to us. Laboratories, still intact laboratory in Ujjain. How to see the universe, how to see the space, how to see the celestial planets and everything. So he never considered it, and shamelessly he was admitting everything which is considered to be the modern things, modern civilization, modern education, everything has been given by you. So this narrative is will also get some sort of momentum if we are not countering it with the proper records. That's why this is an opportunity, a God-given opportunity for us. Atmosphere has been created. The momentum has been created by our nationalist thinkers and everyone. Even Mananiya Pradhana Mantri has set the bold role. He has given a line. Decolonization is necessary. For the first time, Pradhana Mantri has roared from the Red Fort. Decolonization is necessary. Not only him, Honorable Chief Justice of Supreme Court has said that Indianization of jurisprudence. He never said the next word which I am going to say. Ours is not jurisprudence, ours is dharma-prudence. Dharma is the main point. So people at the higher level has also started thinking about it, and it's our duty to follow them in that way. Not only following, we also have got the brain to discuss about all those things. So during this period, we all have to come together and create proper content, discussion on the content, regular programs. We have to pay our great tribute to the great patriots who shed their blood and tears and sweat for us. We are all aware about the fact when we are enjoying the free air, for sure that free air has got the smell of the blood which has been shed by those great patriots, their life, their tears, their sweat. So in that way, to express our gratitude also, we have to celebrate it in a proper way, not conducting events alone. Of course, events are also necessary, but along with that, intellectual discussions are also necessary. That is the main purpose of this program. Namaskar, Jai Bharat.